Ladies and gentlemen, something big, huge just happened. While the EU, the European Union, was busy lecturing Americans and basically playing hardball behind closed doors, President Donald J. Trump was out here flipping the global economy on its head. And now the entire EU just got blindsided. So we're going to talk about the biggest economic power shift in modern history, guys. Over $4 trillion in new deals. $4 trillion. Think about that. That's ridiculous. All pouring into the United States from the Middle East. And Europe, well, they're begging at the table. They're completely stunned by how fast all of this has just unraveled on them. So you're going to want to hear this, guys, because what President Trump just pulled off, it doesn't just signal a boom. It literally signals the end of the free ride for Europe and the start of a financial renaissance right here in America. So I'm going to go ahead and break it all down for you guys. From President Trump's $800 billion Saudi power play to the $1.44 trillion UAE mega deal, to why the EU is now being forced to make humiliating concessions just to stay afloat, guys. Oh, and we also got a quote from Newt Gingrich. This quote will probably make mainstream media and mainstream economists absolutely lose it. So don't even think about clicking away, because the next few minutes will change the way that you guys see the global economy forever. So stick with me. But check this out. While the European Union was sitting in endless meetings and throwing all sorts of temper tantrums over tariffs, President Trump, he was out there getting things done. In just like 2 weeks, Trump locked in a mind-blowing $4 trillion in trade and investment commitments from the Middle East. And these are not some vague promises, all right? Guys, we are talking hard numbers. So let's go and break it down, shall we? All right, so $800 billion from Saudi Arabia, direct investment into U.S. infrastructure and energy partnerships. We've also got $1.44 trillion from the United Arab Emirates, including tech, real estate, clean energy, and a $200 billion Boeing deal in Qatar. This is putting American aerospace jobs back on top. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is like nearly the size of Germany's entire economy, all right? And it's now flowing into the United States. But here's the kicker. These Middle Eastern nations, they're not just investing more. They want to invest in America. Guys, they're throwing off the chains of the old alliances, and they're choosing President Trump's vision of strength, stability, and shared prosperity. But if you think that's huge, wait until you hear this next part. This is literally going to flip like 30 years of U.S. foreign policy upside down. So for decades, right? U.S. leaders, they got us all tangled up in these never-ending wars across the Middle East. You know what I'm talking about. Chasing oil, regime changes, globalist fantasies. But now, for the first time, guys, in a generation, we're not dropping bombs. We're dropping contracts left and right. $trillion deals, not $trillion deficits. We are now, guys, we're not nation building in Kabul or Baghdad anymore. We're building pipelines, factories, skyscrapers right here in America with capital from the very nations that we used to be at odds with. It is absolutely phenomenal if you think about it. So this is not just economic growth. This is a total realignment of global power. And Trump is at the center of all this. In fact, he just turned battle zones into boardrooms and war zones into wealth zones. Talk about a transformation, right? But guys, it gets even better, because while Trump is lifting America's working class with these new investments, he's also rewriting the tax code in a way that could literally put more cash in your pocket. You definitely want to hear about that. But stick with me, because I want to break down Trump's plan to eliminate taxes on tips and overtime, and what Newt Gingrich just revealed about how this bill could make Trump one of the greatest presidents in American history. Now, if you think Trump's already one of the greatest presidents in American history, drop me a quick 47 in the comments down below, guys. All right. So now, if you're someone who works long hours, maybe you're in hospitality, construction, healthcare, or retail, this one is for you, because tucked inside of President Trump's big, beautiful bill is a game-changing promise that the media is barely even talking about. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Now, think about this for a second, right? You bust your hump on the weekends, you cover that late night shift, you earn a few extra bucks in tips, It's yours to keep 100%. Uncle Sam steps aside. And folks, this isn't some throwaway line. This is foundational to Trump's working class revolution. And as Newt Gingrich said earlier today, this provision alone could be one of the most defining economic shifts in modern history. Why? Because it's targeted relief for real Americans, not corporate carve-outs, not loopholes for the elite, but direct, immediate for the people who make America run. And here's where it gets even bigger. Because Newt Gingrich didn't just praise this bill. He actually said it might cement Trump's place right alongside Lincoln and Roosevelt in the history books. Now, let me ask you guys, do you guys think that Newt Gingrich is on point with what he's saying here about Trump? Like, is Trump this epic? Should Trump's face be up on Mount Rushmore with the other previous presidents? You let me know, guys. Now, wait a second. Did you hear what just happened? Leslie Taylor, she just saved $1,000 a year. Sharon Bertusik, she got dropped from her Medicaid, but now she's paying $0 for her meds. She has no monthly premium, and her copay dropped from $89 to $20. That's not luck. That is what happened. That is literally what happens when Chapter steps in, and they stepped in for her big time. So that was actually basically one of our previous YouTube video commenters letting me know how awesome Chapter is. Anyway, if you're 65 years old or older and you're interested in seeing how much money you can save on your Medicare, give our friends over at Chapter a call. Their number is 909-563-8279. Or better yet, you can hit them up on the web at askchapter.org/Ron and see how much money you can save with Chapter. By the way, their service is 100% free. Now, check this out. So Newt Gingrich, he did not mince words at all. He said, we are standing on the edge of a Trump economic boom of historic proportions. Not maybe, not hopefully, but he said right now. He compared Trump to the greats. He compared him to Jefferson, Jackson, Lincoln, FDR. And he said what Trump is doing could fundamentally rewrite the role of government in favor of the working man. Now, I'm not here to argue if you agree with Newt Gingrich and how awesome Trump is or how not awesome Trump is. I'm just sharing with you what Newt Gingrich said. Now, Newt Gingrich also pointed out three major levers that Trump is pulling right now. He talked about the massive deregulation, clearing out the bureaucratic mess that's stifling growth, the tax relief for working families and not Wall Street, mind you. And of course, the explosive international investment that floods American industries with real cash. And folks, here's the truth. You're not hearing this from legacy media. They're way too busy obsessing over tweets and indictments. But while they're distracted, Trump is pulling off a once-in-a-generation realignment that puts America and you back in the driver's seat. But here's a real twist. While America is booming, the European Union, they're in full-blown panic mode, okay? All right, so while Trump is signing trillion-dollar deals with the Middle East and pumping life into the American economy, the European Union, they're having a full-blown meltdown. So here's what they did not see coming. Trump gave them a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. This is a chance to come to the table and work out a fair deal. But instead of playing ball, the EU decided to drag their feet, to make arrogant demands and acted like America still owed them something. So what did Trump do? Trump went ahead and slapped those jokers with a flat 10% tariff on EU goods right away. And just this week, he threatened to raise it to 50% across the board. That's not just a warning, guys. That is a economic artillery aimed directly at Brussels. Now they're scrambling. They got like 45 days left on the clock and they're sweating bullets. Why? Because they know that, if that tariff hits, it's going to detonate their trade dominance and completely collapse their entire sector of their export economy. And it gets even worse because Trump is not just slapping tariffs on for show. He's pulling back the curtain on how badly we've been getting ripped off for years. Now, let's break this down in numbers because once you see it, you're going to be furious, all right? If you go back to 2023 alone, the European Union exported over $500 billion worth of goods to the United States. And we only exported $350 billion worth to them. That's a $150 billion trade surplus in their favor. You see, and that means for decades, Europe has been bleeding us dry, selling us their cars, selling us their luxury goods, their wine and cheese and whatnot, all the while throwing up, walls against American agriculture, energy, and tech. But under Trump, that free ride is over. He's weaponizing the truth about this trade imbalance to crush their leverage. And once, basically, he's just going to kind of force them into some real concessions. We're not talking about lip service here. We're not talking about symbolism. We are talking hard numbers, structural change. And you better believe it's working, because behind closed doors, the EU is offering up some massive concessions, guys. We're talking about massive concessions on natural gas, agriculture, just to stay in the game. But of course, I'm about to break down why the EU is actually collapsing from the inside, and how President Trump, he's using his own bureaucracy against them. So let's talk about why the EU is getting steamrolled. And folks, it really comes down to one thing: bureaucratic paralysis. So while Trump moves like a CEO, which he kind of is a CEO, I mean, he's a CEO of multiple companies, and technically the United States is one big, massive corporation. So he is a CEO, is he not? He moves like a CEO, fast, focused, and fearless. And the EU is stuck in these committee meetings, backroom infighting, regulatory nightmares of their own making. I mean, they're a mess. Think about it. Before they can even approve a major trade shift, they got to get sign-offs from like 27 different member states, unelected commissioners, a legal review from Brussels. Meanwhile, Trump, he picks up the phone, makes the deal, signs the order, and it's done before the EU even finishes its morning coffee, right? and don't take my word for it, guys. Even President Donald J. Trump, he called it out. He said Europe is strangled by oppressive regulation, while the Middle East is now wide open for business. And he's right, because here's the hard truth. The EU is no longer America's best partner. It's becoming our biggest liability now. And the American people are done waiting for Europe to catch up. We don't even need them anymore. But what happens when a bloated, entitled institution gets hit with economic reality? Well, they put their hands together and they beg. And that is exactly what's happening next. So you want to see what desperation looks like? Look no further than Brussels right now. Because after decades of acting like America's moral superior, the European Union is now crawling back to the table with their heads down and their hands out. Why? Because President Trump's tariffs worked. The EU knows that if a 50% tariff goes into effect, their export machine's dead. It's dead on arrival. And so now, for the first time in like years, they're offering to make real, tangible concessions. Guys, we're talking opening up their market to American natural gas, dropping restrictions on American agriculture, and even reconsidering their protectionist policies just to avoid what Trump has made very clear is coming if they don't comply. But here's the part the media will not show you. Trump is not chasing them. He's not flying to Brussels begging for their approval. He's focused on the Middle East, where the money is, where the energy is, and where the future is. So while Europe bends the knee, Trump is reshaping the global economy. And what I want to share with you guys, I want to share with you guys how this realignment is really putting America back in control. Now, folks, we are witnessing something that experts swore would never happen: a total global realignment of power and trade. And guess what? The European Union is getting left in the dust. Why? Because the Middle East, yes, I'm talking about the same region that the old Washington, D.C. establishment wrote off as a war zone, is now America's most promising trade partner. And the EU, well, they're stuck spinning their wheels. So even Donald Trump Jr. called it out loud and clear. The Gulf nations are smart, they're business focused, they're ready to grow. No insane climate quotas, no 12-month approval processes, no elite lectures, just money, deals, and progress. I mean, how do you not like that, right? Meanwhile, Brussels, they're still trying to figure out which carbon regulation form to submit, while the UAE and Saudi Arabia are investing trillions of dollars in American infrastructure, aerospace, and clean energy. I mean, the shift is real. And It's permanent. Trump is pivoting America away from the stagnant, self-righteous bureaucracies of Europe and straight toward emerging, energy-hungry power centers that actually want to do business in America. But if you think that that's the end of the shakeup, well, wait until you hear what President Trump's doing with NATO, defense spending, and who's really calling the shots now. You see, guys, for like decades, the United States has been carrying the weight of Europe's protection. Billions of our dollars, generation after generation, all funneled into NATO so that Germany and France can spend their money on luxury trains and climate summits? No. Yeah. So Trump, though, he's finally said enough is enough. No more defense warfare. No more defense welfare, no more lopsided trade deals, no more pretending that these globalist structures are benefiting America, because they're not. And now the EU is finding out, well, what happens when they actually have to pay their fair share? Trump is making it crystal clear. We don't need you. You need us more than we need you. And if you want a seat at the table, it comes at a price. And this is not just rhetoric. This is a total inversion of the post-World War II world order, I should say. Trump is rewriting the rules as we speak. And for the first time in decades, America is setting the terms again. The world is changing fast. Alliances are shifting, and the elites in Europe, they're scared. They're terrified because the gravy train is over and they know it. And the driver just changed routes. Now, folks, the clock is ticking. Because if Congress does not act fast, this historic boom could stall before liftoff. Now, you need to hear what Newt Gingrich said next. All right, guys. So here's where the rubber meets the road, because everything we talked about, the tariffs, the Middle East deals, the no tax on tips revolution, none of it becomes law without this bill. Newt Gingrich, he didn't hold back. He said it plain and simple. If Republicans in the Senate don't get this deal done, and it doesn't get done fast, they're going to blow the biggest opportunity in modern political history. Remember Speaker Mike Johnson? He's already kept his promise. He pushed Trump's big, beautiful bill through the House before Memorial Day weekend. But now it's in the Senate's hands, and time is running out quickly. So Newt Gingrich, he even said that there should be no August recess unless that bill is on President Trump's desk and signed. Because if it's not, the boom fizzles, the momentum dies, and the Democrats, well, of course, they're going to spin it as a failure, just like they always do. This is not just about policy. This is about legacy. It's about showing the American people that when you give Trump the power to govern, he delivers. But that only works if the GOP follows through. And here's the truth. If they miss this moment, if they fold under pressure or start bickering and fighting over amendments, they're not just betraying Trump. They're betraying you too. So let's be clear. This is not just another bill. This is a turning point. The entire world is watching. I mean, like, we've got the EU crawling back. We've got $4 trillion in new investment. We've got the biggest working class tax cut in decades. And we have a president with the vision. We have a president with the backbone. We have a president and the momentum to make it all happen. But if this bill doesn't pass, the tariffs don't escalate. The concessions stop. The boom stalls. And then the elites, they get to say, hey, I told you so. So here's what you can do right now. You can call up your senator, email your representative, blow up their phone lines. Tell them that the American people are watching and we're done being ignored. So, we're pretty much at the edge of history, folks. The Trump boom is real, but only if we fight for it. So, that's going to do it for today, guys. But this fight is not over. So drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Should the Senate pass this bill by July 4th? Just yes or no on that one. Should Europe finally pay their fair share? And do you support President Trump's plan to tax the elites and lift the working class? Oh, and by the way, do smash the heck out of the like button. If you guys are ready for the boom, hit subscribe so that you do not miss what's coming next. And make sure to share this video if you believe that it's time that we put America back in charge. We're done taking the back seat, guys. We are done getting ripped off. Trump is rewriting the rules, and this time America wins. Don't forget to reach out to our friends at Chapter. See how much money you can save on your Medicare. We'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.